I added 11 brand new Formula 1 teams to F1 2022 using a fantasy mod and simulated 10 seasons. Which team will come out on top? Stay tuned to find out. My name is Chris, welcome back to CFRacing and enjoy the video. Hello everybody, what's going on? Chris here, otherwise known as CFRacing, and I have a very special video for all of you guys. And this is a really fun one because today I am using a Formula Fantasy mod created by some of the best mod creators in the entire Formula 1 community, all basically on Race Department. I'm sure you've used some of their mods before, like Scotty, Race King. I think it's called Milted? I don't know. I'm not good at pronouncing things. But yeah, there's a lot of very talented modders that put a lot of time and effort into this mod. And they gave me a little bit of early access into this mod so I can simulate 10 seasons. I'm sure you guys saw this mod last year. It was called Formula's Fantasy. It added basically 11 brand new teams into Formula 1. And now they're doing it again this year. And yeah, like I said, I got early access on it. I added all the teams into the game, simulated 10 seasons. And that's what this simulation is going to be today. So first, I want to say, if you guys are new here and enjoy the content like this, hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends. We're on the road to 20k, and if we can get there by the end of the month, that would be fantastic. I am racing cars with Connor to 20k, so if you guys want to get me there, hit that like button. It definitely will help YouTube spread the video to more people. Also, once again, huge shout out to the mod creators. All of their links are in the description down below, so go check them out. So first, let's take a look at all 11 teams and their drivers. So first off, we have Monster Mercedes AMG with Lewis Hamilton and Pierre Gasly as their two drivers, which is a driver lineup that I think could be quite dominant in this simulation. The second team is Nissan Red Bull Racing, and you guys are going to like this one as it is a Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel pairing, which, I mean, it's a great pairing, let's be honest. It's basically like a dream Red Bull pairing, which is really cool. Third on the list, we have Vodafone Scuderia Ferrari, and the two drivers have not changed, and it is still Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, and definitely my pick to win the most races, hint, because you guys know I'm a Charles Leclerc fan and a Ferrari fan. After that, we have some IndyCar action here with Gainbridge and Andretti McLaren Racing, which is a really cool team. I love their livery, by the way, and their racing rims or wheel covers. They look fantastic, and alongside that team, we have Colton Herta and Lando Norris. Looks like this McLaren Andretti Gainbridge team is really catering towards that American market. After that, we have Canon Toyota F1 team with two very talented drivers, Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri, who could have been the Alpine driver lineup next year, but now it looks like none of them are going to be driving for Alpine. That sucks, Alpine. After that, we have Infinity Scuderia AlphaTauri, and these two drivers are pretty talented Red Bull juniors, as they have Alexander Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, and I love the absolute shine and wheel covers on this livery. It might be one of my favorites. After this, we are bringing Sahara Force India back into Formula 1 with an ultimate second driver pairing of 2021 second drivers with Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. Another one of my favorite teams is BWT Williams Toyota Racing with George Russell and Esteban Ocon taking behind the wheel. We do actually have sort of two Toyota teams, which is pretty cool and great to see them on there. We are bringing back another legendary team to Formula 1 as Lotus has rejoined the grid with a quite spicy lineup with Kimi Räikkönen coming out of retirement and Mick Schumacher joining Kimi Räikkönen. So we finally got that Räikkönen-Schumacher driver lineup that I'm sure a lot of us actually wanted to see in Ferrari one day. Team 10 is the Dodge Haas Autosport team. This is a combination between Dodge and Haas with two drivers that I'm sure you guys all know and love. It is Kevin Magnussen and Danny Kvyat. Great to see Danny Kvyat back into Formula 1. Really cool to see him, and I think he'll do a great job alongside Kevin Magnussen. And the last team on the grid is the My Team team, and actually I got to choose which one this was. So for all you guys who actually wanted Chevy as a My Team car, we finally have it. I chose to add Chevy as the 11th team. I know Seketsu is going to be loving this, and the two drivers I have is 2021 NASCAR champion Kyle Larson, who will be behind the wheel of that Chevy car for all 10 seasons, and to start off, his teammate is going to be David Coulthard. So now that we have met all the teams and all the drivers, it is time to get into all 10 years of this simulation. In 2022, Charles Leclerc wins his first ever World Drivers' Championship as he takes 5 wins on the year, 278 points to finish in P1. Pierre Gasly takes 2 wins, 236 points to finish in P2. Lando Norris takes 5 wins at 215 points to finish in P3. Max Verstappen takes 3 wins, 209 points to finish in P4. And Carlos Sainz takes 1 win, 190 points to finish in P5. Vodafone Ferrari win their first ever, World Constructors' Championship, followed by Monster Mercedes in P2, Nissan Red Bull in P3, Cambridge McLaren P4, Canon Toyota P5, Lotus in P6, Chevy P7, Dodge P8, Infiniti AlphaTauri P9, Force India P10, and BWT Williams Racing in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Fernando Alonso decides to retire from Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton takes a sabbatical and leaves Formula 1. That moves a Callum Ilott to Monster Energy, Mercedes Racing. Robert Schwartzman goes to Toyota. Colton Herta moves from Cambridge to Toyota. I guess he had enough of Cambridge, McLaren, Andretti. And Oscar Piastri heads to Cambridge to replace Colton Herta. And heading into 2023, there is a regulation change to the aero and chassis departments. In 2023, Max Verstappen wins his second ever World Drivers' Championship, but first of the simulation as he takes 7 wins, 298 points to finish in P1. Charles Leclerc takes 6 wins, 258 points to finish in P2, and Carlos Sainz takes 3 wins, 238 points to finish in P3. Nissan Red Bull Racing win their first ever World Constructors' Championship, followed by Vodafone Ferrari P2, McLaren and Andretti Cambridge Racing in P3, Monster Mercedes in P4, Chevy P5, Canon Toyota P6, Lotus P7, Infiniti AlphaTauri P8, Dodge P9, BWT Williams P10, and Force India once again in dead last. In the driver transfer market, it's a real shame, but Sebastian Vettel decides to retire from Formula 1. That moves Jehan Daruvala to Nissan, Callum Ilott to Lotus, Robert Schwartzman to Monster Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton to Toyota, Dan Ticktum to Toyota. Colton Herta actually leaves Formula 1, presumably probably to go back to IndyCar, and that moves Mick Schumacher to free agency. And heading into 2024, there is no regulation change. In 2024, Max Verstappen wins his second consecutive World Drivers' Championship as he takes 9 wins, 357 points to finish in P1. Charles Leclerc takes 4 wins, 266 points to finish in P2. Lando Norris takes 2 wins, 234 points to finish in P3. And Carlos Sainz takes 1 win, 209 points to finish in P4. Nissan Red Bull win their second consecutive Constructors title of the simulation, followed by Ferrari Vodafone in P2, McLaren Cambridge in P3, Monster Mercedes in P4, Toyota in P5, Infiniti AlphaTauri in P6, Chevy in P7, Dodge Haas in P8, Lotus P9, BWT Williams and P10, and Force India in dead last. And now we're heading to the driver transfer market where this gets absolutely insane. We have Michael Schumacher returning to Formula 1 as he heads to Chevy, as this is a fantasy simulation. So why do you think I chose him? Because he's Michael Schumacher. That's why I chose him. We're here to have fun, guys. Carlos Sainz heads to Lotus. Colton Herta goes to Vodafone Ferrari. Liam Lawson heads to Lotus. Mick Schumacher, not Michael Schumacher. There are 2 Schumachers, father and son, on the grid now, which is something you love to see. And Mick Schumacher heads to Infiniti AlphaTauri. Callum Ilott goes to Force India. Richard Verschoor goes to Dodge. Yuri Vips goes to Toyota. Jehan Daruvala goes to Monster Mercedes. Robert Schwartzman goes to Nissan Red Bull. Dan Ticktum goes to BWT Williams. And that leaves Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez, Kimi Räikkönen, and Danny Kvyat all as free agents. And heading into 2025, there is a regulation change to the power and durability departments. In 2025, Charles Leclerc wins his second ever World Drivers' Championship as he takes 8 wins on the year, 349 points to finish in P1. Max Verstappen takes 5 wins, 286 points to finish in P2. Lando Norris takes 2 wins, 244 points to finish in P3. Colton Herta takes 200 points to finish in P4. And Oscar Piastri wins his first ever race, taking 153 points to finish in P5. Vodafone Ferrari win their second Constructors title of the simulation, followed by Nissan Red Bull P2, Cambridge McLaren in P3, Monster Mercedes in P4, Toyota in P5, Dodge in P6, BWT Williams in P7, Chevy dropped down to P8, Lotus in P9, Infiniti AlphaTauri in P10, and Force India in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Colton Herta once again leaves Formula 1, probably go to IndyCar again. Kimi Räikkönen heads to Vodafone Ferrari. Danny Kvyat goes to Lotus. Liam Lawson goes to Infinity. Yuki Tsunoda goes to Toyota. Teo Pourchaire goes to Toyota. Felipe Drugovich heads to Force India. Yuri Vips goes to Monster Mercedes. And that leaves Lewis Hamilton, Jehan Daruvala, Callum Ilott, and Mick Schumacher all as free agents. And heading in to 2026, there is a regulation change to the chassis departments. In 2026, Lando Norris wins his first ever World Drivers' Championship as he takes 9 wins, 341 points to finish in P1. Charles Leclerc takes 3 wins, 241 points to finish in P2. Oscar Piastri takes 1 win, 240 points to finish in P3. Max Verstappen takes 2 wins, 234 points to finish in P4. And Kimi Räikkönen takes 188 points to finish in P5. Gainbridge McLaren win their first ever World Constructors' Championship with Vodafone Ferrari in P2, Nissan Red Bull P3, Toyota P4, Monster Mercedes P5, Dodge P6, BWT Williams in P7, Chevy P8, Lotus P9, Infinity P10, and Force India in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Kimi Räikkönen sadly decides to retire from Formula 1. What a real shame. With Felipe Drugovich heading to Vodafone, Enzo Fittipaldi goes to Force India, Samaya goes to Lotus, Christian Lundgaard goes to Infinity, Sergio Perez goes to Toyota, Lirim Zendelli goes to Toyota, Esteban Ocon heads to Gainbridge, Callum Ilott goes to Monster Energy, Mercedes Racing, whatever the heck it's called, and that leaves Oscar Piastri, Yuki Tsunoda, Teo Pourchaire, Yuri Vips, Liam Lawson, and Danny Kvyat all as free agents. And heading in to 2027, there is no regulation change. In 2027, Lando Norris wins his second consecutive World Drivers' Championship as he dominates, taking 15 wins on the year, 407 points to finish in P1. Max Verstappen takes 238 points to finish in P2, and Charles Leclerc takes 1 win, 130 points to finish in P3. Gainbridge McLaren win their second consecutive Constructors title, followed by Nissan Red Bull in P2, Vodafone Ferrari in P3, Canon Toyota in P4, Monster Mercedes in P5, Chevy in P6, Infinity AlphaTauri in P7, Dodge in P8, Lotus P9, BWT Williams in P10, and once again, Force India in dead last. In the driver transfer market, things got crazy once again with Lewis Hamilton retiring from Formula 1. That moves Teo Pourchaire, I spelled his name wrong, to Lotus, Christian Lundgaard to Toyota, Enzo Fittipaldi to Infinity, Roy Nissany to Force India, Pierre Gasly to Vodafone, Oscar Piastri to Monster Mercedes, Mick Schumacher to Monster Mercedes, Liam Lawson to Gainbridge, Jehan Daruvala to Dodge, Esteban Ocon to Nissan, Charles Leclerc leaves F1, and that leaves Robert Schwartzman, Callum Ilott, Lirim Zendelli, Samaya, and Richard Verschoor all as free agents. And heading in to 2028, there is a regulation change to the aero, chassis, and durability departments, which will probably shake up the grid heading in to 2028. In 2028, Lando Norris wins his third consecutive World Drivers' Championship as he takes 13 wins on the year, 373 points to finish in P1. Sergio Perez takes 194 points to finish in P2. Pierre Gasly takes 174 points to finish in P3. Michael Schumacher takes 164 points to finish in P4. And Liam Lawson takes 3 wins, 161 points to finish in P5. Gainbridge McLaren take their third consecutive of the simulation, followed by Toyota P2, Vodafone Ferrari P3, Chevy move up to P4, Nissan Red Bull drop down to P5, Infinity AlphaTauri in P6, Dodge in P7, Lotus P8, Monster Mercedes have a terrible regulation change, drop down to P9, BWT Williams stay in P10, and once again, a Force India in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Jehan Daruvala goes to Lotus, Marcus Armstrong goes to Dodge, Alessio Deletta the GOAT heads to Infinity AlphaTauri, Enzo Fittipaldi goes to Toyota, Sato goes to Vodafone, Callum Ilott heads to Gainbridge, David Beckham, I think his name is, goes to Monster Mercedes, Teo Pourchaire heads to Nissan Red Bull, Samaya heads to BWT, and that leaves Esteban Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Christian Lundgaard, Dan Ticktum, Liam Lawson, and Felipe Drugovich as a free agent. And heading into 2029, there is no regulation change. In 2029, this was an absolute domination as Lando Norris won all 16 races as he took 409 points to finish in P1. Gamebridge McLaren win their 4th consecutive of the simulation, followed by Toyota P2, Nissan Red Bull P3, Chevy P4, Vodafone Ferrari P5, Monster Mercedes P6, Infinity AlphaTauri P7, Lotus P8, Dodge P9, BWT Williams P10, and Force India once again stays in dead last. Things get very crazy in this driver transfer market, and I'll tell you guys a little bit at the end. As Max Verstappen retires, that leaves Yuki Tsunoda to go to Nissan Red Bull. Dan Ticktum also heads to Nissan Red Bull. Teo Pourchaire goes to Chevy. Ralph Boschung and Robert Schwartzman both head to Infinity AlphaTauri. Yuri Vips heads to Vodafone. Jack Aitken goes to Monster Mercedes. Marie Larson goes to Lotus, which is a reserve driver that the team has. Izuma heads to Force India, which is their reserve driver. And Schiffer heads to Toyota, who is also their reserve driver. I put LOL because it's kind of funny that these teams actually could not afford like a regular Formula 1 or Formula 2 driver. That's why they have their reserve drivers. I've only seen this instance happen once before, and it's crazy that this happened 3 times in the same season. It's unbelievable. And that leaves Alexander Albon, Enzo Fittipaldi, Roy Nissany, David Beckham, Jehan Daruvula, Alessio Deletta, and Sato all as free agents. And heading in to 2030, there is a regulation change to the power departments. In 2030, Lando Norris takes 10 wins, 309 points to win his 5th consecutive World Drivers' Championship. Callum Ilott takes 4 wins, 278 points to finish in P2. Teo Pourchaire takes 2 wins, 208 points to finish in P3. Gamebridge McLaren win their 5th consecutive of the simulation, followed by Chevy in P2, Vodafone Ferrari in P3, Monster Mercedes in P4, Nissan Red Bull P5, Toyota in P6, Infinity AlphaTauri in P7, Dodge in P8, Lotus P9, BWT Williams in P10, and Force India in dead last. In the driver transfer market, things got crazy once again as Carlos Sainz decides to retire from Formula 1. Yuki Tsunoda heads to Force India. David Beckman goes to Vodafone Ferrari. Alexander Albon heads to Monster. Ralph Boschung also heads to Monster. Jack Aitken goes to Nissan. Dan Ticktum also goes to Nissan. Gamebridge McLaren cannot afford a driver as they add Atier, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's heading to Gamebridge for the final season because they couldn't afford a driver. And once again, it happens again as Neves goes to Infinity AlphaTauri. I don't know what's going on in this simulation. I don't know if there's just so many regulation changes in this that the teams cannot afford to get drivers, but they just have all their reserve drivers, which I've never seen before. 5 in 1 simulation. That's absolutely insane. And heading into the final season, Callum Ilott, Yuri Vips, Oscar Piastri, and Valtteri Bottas all end up as free agents. And once again, heading into 2031, there is a regulation change to aero, chassis, and power departments. In 2031, once again, Lando Norris absolutely dominated, and this was even more dominant than his other 16-win season as he took 413 points this time as he wins his 6th consecutive of the simulation. Even with that nobody reserve driver, Gamebridge McLaren still win the Constructors title as they take their 6th in a row. Chevy finish P2, Infinity AlphaTauri finish in P3, Vodafone Ferrari finish in P4, Toyota P5, Lotus P6, Red Bull in P7, Monster Mercedes end up in P8, Dodge in a P9. Force India finally move out of P10. Let's give them all a round of applause. And that means BWT Williams finish in dead last. So guys, it is now the end of the simulation, and let's take a look at the final stats for all 10 years. At the end of all 10 years of this simulation, Lando Norris was the most winningest driver as he took 88 wins, Charles Leclerc with 27, Max Verstappen with 26, Callum Ilott with 4, Liam Lawson with 3, Teo Pourchaire with 2, Gasly with 2, Sainz with 2, Piastri with 2, and Kimi Räikkönen with 1 win. Lando Norris won the most World Drivers' Championships with 6, followed by Charles Leclerc with 2, and Max Verstappen with 2. And in terms of World Constructors' Championships, Gamebridge McLaren and Andretti Racing ended up with 6 as they dominated the decade. We have Vodafone Ferrari with 2 and Nissan Red Bull Racing with 2 World Drivers Championships. So guys, that is going to wrap it up for this Formula Fantasy Simulation video. Once again, go check out all the mod creators. All their links are going to be in the description. And I believe this mod will be on Race Department sometime soon. I did get an early build of it, so not everything was in the mod that is going to be in the mod when you guys get it all. But once again, once it comes out, go check it out. And once again, thank you guys so much for the support in the video. Thank you to the mod creators once again for letting me get early access. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time.